my colleague at the NFL Media Group, Ian Rappaport, reported this past week that Cowboy players are upset over the game planning and certainly the in-game planning, and in terms of the fact that offensive players are calling out blitz schemes before they're actually run, and they're right almost every time. Are you hearing the same thing, Brad?
And not as much as he is, and I don't know how many players he's talking to, but I think that one of the signs that things are going bad is when you have players look up and say, "Hey, it's his fault." But you have to look at everything when you've had 3 second halves like they've had. It's not a secret that Rod Marinelli doesn't like the blitz. His philosophy, going all the way back to when he started coaching, is that if you blitz, somewhere there's a hole back there somewhere. A good quarterback is going to find it. So you got to get where you're going with 4 guys. And they've done, believe me, an exhaustive study of the last 3 games especially, and when they've given up the chunk plays. They gave up an uncommon number to the Los Angeles Chargers, and they have tried to figure out what defenses they were playing so they don't play those defenses, making some lineup changes. And so I think that, there may be some of that going on, but it's always a little bit of a caution sign for me when you hear someone who is never around the team quoting players as calling out coaches. Is some of that probably true? Yeah, I think they're probably all a little disgruntled. But the best thing those guys can do is look in the mirror and see if they've executed what they're doing well. And if they're doing the best they can, then there will be changes made above them. But that's not their concern right now.
Well, in terms of that, do you think Jason Garrett is coaching for his job over the last 5 weeks?
Right now, I don't. I think that I could see some staff changes coming, but right now I don't think that. Rich, it's the same staff that was 13-3 last year. It's the same staff with a change or two that was 12-4 2 years before that. So they didn't all of a sudden get stupid. The team's different because the players are different. Now, you have to coach different players differently. You can't coach them the same way you coached last year's team. But the same coaches have been successful before. They're not doing a good enough job so far in the last 3 weeks. I mean, they're 5-6, so that means they were 5-3. So either it's a little more complicated than a tweet can reveal, or they all suddenly went brain dead in a 3-week period. And I got a little trouble with that theory.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.